Calling all units, calling all units. Donut Shop has a fresh dozen. Go ahead and take a 1040.
Check it out. What's up? Good morning, YouTube. Let me sorry. Let me end this Instagram. I'm not going to share that. What's up? And so I'll just kind of wait and hopefully they drop in. Last night when I created the stream, this account, Communists Suck, dropped the Von Trapp, I guess a fan of, what do we got? The hat that's on top of my Scout Trooper, my Germany hat. He wants me to wear that. I'm assuming Communists Suck is a he. Sorry if I misgender you. But yeah, so here we are. Or here I am. I don't know who I got nobody in my pocket. But welcome. Yeah, I'm here on a Sunday again. Missed last Sunday because I was this time I was getting ready to get on a plane. I was up in Philly. We had done a live show up in Philly at like a Sparky, not sure how long you've been on YouTube. No, it just started. It popped up. I saw it on my phone because I follow myself. I got the notification probably 15 seconds after the live started, so it was pretty much right on cue. So yeah, I just kicked it off. 8:30. It's always 8:30 on a Sunday when I do it because, like I was saying, last Sunday, Counterculture was up in Philly, and we had a live event that we did. It was at the Polish American Club, a pretty sweet building, and we did, like we did like a panel talk because that's what podcasts do nowadays. They do kind of like a tour, like rock bands. We don't necessarily have a tour schedule, but we're trying to do every few months, travel to a different area, perhaps where one of our like member podcasts of Counterculture is, and that like that guy or girl, whoever's got the podcast there, kind of sets up an event, and then we get a table up at the front of an audience and kind of do this podcast stuff. Try to find like a current event or something, like a comedy show almost. Do a little bit of crowd work. We talked to some people in the crowd last week. Crazy guy who dropped a hard R, and sort of like we were all like looking around at each other, and so we've commonly streamed it live to the like Counterculture YouTube, but this time we didn't. We did film it, and Tyler's going to work on maybe cutting some reels and that kind of stuff. So he's going to cut some reels out of it if we've got anything interesting that we talked about. So yes, it's true, Julie or Juliet. Sunday morning, clear skies and rain. Out by me out west, I hear the rain. It was cloudy for me when I took the dogs out. So, but yeah, welcome everybody else for here. Show announcement coming up. I think it's going to start November 14th. So it's going to be on Friday. Well, not that one. Remove that one. I'm working on something here. There we go. I added pictures that way I don't seem so much like a fool. So open mics had previously been at like freaking 9:00 at night on a Friday. It was always a pain in the butt to to get members of Counterculture to jump on, and pretty much just like a round table on something like this on like StreamYard, where the team from Counterculture kind of talks trash and recaps maybe like the week, sort of just has like a conference call. So it's like a conference call. But we're going to try to just have fun with it and bullshit and talk shit to each other. And so we're going to move it up to 3:00 in the afternoon. It'll obviously, you can watch it as a podcast later on the Counterculture's YouTube channel. But if you want to catch it live, it'll be streaming live. Like I said, the plans are to start doing it November 14th. And it'll be over on the Counterculture YouTube channel. And the idea is I'm kind of one of the hosts. I wanted to pick it up because guys like Tyler and Mike are super busy with Anti-Hero podcast and excuse me. all their shows. So they're busy, so they may drop in and host it with me, but I'm gonna try and do some stuff with some other guys. So yeah, Julia, open mic. So excited about it. Um, it's a cool show. We have I started up an Instagram for it just to sort of continue the promotion for it. And you can see some of the old stuff and kind of what we're gearing towards. A little less of the breakdown videos of some of the cop videos that we find on Instagram, and but sometimes that's a good space filler. But otherwise, just talking trash to each other, making fun of each other, doing boy stuff. All right, take that down. And so the other thing, when I was in Philly last weekend, Philly was fun. My wife and I have been there before, and we had stayed right downtown. And in downtown, there's the Reading Street Terminal Market. It's freaking awesome. There's all kinds of vendors there selling food, meats, pastries. There's like little tchotchkes and clothing and stuff like that. So I had one of my missions for myself when my wife and I had been there before, and there's I think it's called Fourth Street Cookie Company. We had eaten the cookies there, and we enjoyed them, and they were fun. And so we had her mom and dad were living in Philly at the time of our wedding. So we had her mom and dad go to the market and pick up a couple dozen cookies, and we had them fly them in. So when they came down for the wedding, we had them and we froze them for the wedding. And I mean, they were only frozen for a few days, but we served them at the wedding on the dessert table. So that was kind of a fun way to bring in some stuff to show off like our travels. So of course, going back up there, I was like, yeah, I'm going to go get some cookies. Brought a Tupperware, had them in my backpack, and brought them home. And we polished them off this week. So it was good to have those. Additionally, inside the market is a donut shop. So of course, I had to go to a donut shop. A donut counter, kind of like the one in my background picture. And it was freaking awesome. Fresh, soft. You can kind of see how I'm like almost pinching it, crushing it. It was really good. That was all I had left to take a picture of. So that was dope. Enjoyed that. The weather was not as cold as I hoped it was. I didn't even need that jacket that I was wearing, but there's a picture of me in front of Reading Street Terminal. Oh yeah, Sparky. Eat more whole foods. Very, very smart. So I'm trying to eat my whole foods and stay healthy, right? So yeah, there's Reading Street Market. Additionally, I didn't load any of the photos of it, but that whole downtown area was like almost shut down for vehicle traffic because it was the same day as the No Kings protests across the country. So that was a pretty full streets of protesters. So it was interesting to watch. Nice to not have to work it. But interesting to watch the protests go on and everything. It appeared to be mostly peaceful and safe protests, so good on them, and voicing their freedom of protest. And so they were wandering around. So it was kind of tough because I had my buddy Chris that runs the Canine Tambo account. He was on a few episodes ago talking about his canine, his retired canine partner Tambo that has cancer. Good news coming in last week that he had his most recent scans, and they came back negative. So he is in remission. And so he's doing well, healthy, doesn't have to get beat up as much going through chemo and stuff. So that's great news for Tambo and Chris and his family. But Chris lives just about an hour outside of Philly in Maryland. And he was like, he saw the advertisements that I was putting up for the live show in Philly. And he was like, yeah, I'm going to come over and I'm going to join you guys, or, I want to come to the event and then meet us, of course. So it was great. Chris drove over, but like I was saying, it was a pain in the butt because a lot of the streets were blocked off. So his GPS was just going haywire. Like every street he'd pull onto, it'd go, oh, never mind, can't send you here. And the hotel that he'd gotten that I was meeting him at was like right in downtown Philly, right there in the thick of it. So he finally made it, and we hit up a little Irish pub, I had a couple beers before driving up to the show, because the show was just about 40 minutes outside of Philly, northeast Philly. So there's Chris with his Canine Tambo shirt. So it was cool to link up with him, and that's one of the other cool things about doing these live shows in different parts of the country, is that people, I mean, I hate to say fans, like we got fans, but people, acquaintances, or people that we've met through this podcasting game, can come out and meet up, say what's up. So there's Chris. We had a couple Irish stouts. So yeah, so Juliet says Philly cheesesteak sandwich. Yeah. At the live event, they had some awesome food, some Italian catering and everything. And so you kind of had you like make your own cheesesteak. So they had the rolls there, which were fresh, and then the prime rib just in a heated tray, and it was like individually like balled up prime rib. So I just took like 2 balls of prime rib and kind of spread them out over the bread. There was no cheese whiz. I'm also a very plain guy. I don't put much veggies or anything, no peppers or anything like that. So I skipped over the peppers. But there was some Parmesan from a salad that I used the Parmesan to shake on there. So I did a little Parmesan prime rib steak sub. So, I mean, closest thing I was getting there at the live event, but it was cool. It was good. I did not go to. I tried. The airport has, I think it's called Geno's, is one of the cheesesteak places. The airport has it, and of course it was like 7:30 in the morning that I was at the airport, and it was like cheesesteak. I was like, all right, and then I looked, and they have like the computer for you to ring it up, and I was ringing it up, and I'm like, $18 for. I'm like, I don't even know if I should be eating a cheesesteak for breakfast. So I said, I'm not paying $18 for a cheesesteak at an airport, and then and it's 7:30 in the morning, and I'm not hungover. So I skipped it, and I went to Aunt Annie's, and I got a breakfast sandwich with a pretzel roll, which was delightful. All right, well, so yeah, that's that little recap on the trip. I found it fun because I've always wanted to do like a back and forth. Like, I flew up Saturday morning, and I got up there at 10:30, and then flew back out at 9 something on Sunday morning. So I did just over 24 hours, or just about 24 hours in Philly, which was it was cool for me. I enjoyed it. I shacked up with Mike from Copville, and slept on the sofa bed in his hotel. So it was a good time. All right. So other announcements I have printed off. I'm not going to show it because it has the agency name, even though 2 of the people in here know where I work. I have printed off my retirement memo. So that one's getting turned in tomorrow. Retirement for December 31st, 2025. So just turning that in to get get that ball rolling, and get the paperwork started on the city's end, because don't need any problems or snafus on the paperwork side. Looking forward to it. Excited for what's to come, and excited to get 40 something odd hours back per week, and then I can devote it to other things like this podcasting, scheduling interviews, getting stuff started with that, and do a good push to make Donut Shop better, to make Donut Shop just as regular as possible, and then other things, like my with this podcasting, I've obviously learned a lot. I've collected a lot of gear. I've produced other podcasts before, for other people. So just working behind the camera, not in front of the microphone. I did one this past Wednesday. I took off, and I went down over to Fort Lauderdale, right near Riverside Market. There's a cool bar restaurant in Fort Lauderdale, and there's a Navy SEAL that lives right over there, and he's got a freaking awesome home gym, like in a garage. It's it's dope. And my friend Michael Morgan, he's been on my show too. He's the one who's treated PTSD and trauma with ayahuasca, and kind of explains that journey to people and sort of coaches people on that sort of thing. He has his own podcast, Resilient Warrior Nation, and I recorded his podcast or produced his podcast for him at this guy's house. So he's going to bring me in once a month or so to help him produce his podcast when he does in-person, like live ones. Otherwise he does ones like this on StreamYard. So yeah, so that's a new future venture that I can use to make a little cashish in the background to, continue, so that way I don't have to have a boss and I don't have to, keep working for the man. But, obviously I still love my job, still love law enforcement, and, what we can do in the community and what I used to do, still very important to me. I plan on, of course, staying tapped in, keeping connections, and, if I can get to a training or continue to learn, I'm always striving to learn. So I don't want to be one of those old retired guys that still, back in my day, and this is how we've always done it, all that kind of stuff. Because obviously things change, tactics change, techniques change. So I'm not going to be breaking down videos in 15 years with absolutely no knowledge of what the job is like anymore. It'll get harder and harder to follow, but it because the job is ever changing for sure. So so looking forward to it. Retirement should be fun. Plenty of time to do stuff. What else was there? I did not create a list. Any questions you guys have? Oh yeah, last night, I'm not going to load that picture because I'm in uniform, but last night I did, I've been a member of Honor Guard for the police department for 19 years. I kind of got onto it when I was on probation. You're not supposed to, they're not going to take you onto the unit unless you're off probation, which is your first year of work. But I was even allowed to, I wanted to be on it so bad when I started that I was even allowed to go to the practices and hang out. And they called me like water boy. So helping out with what they were doing whenever they'd practice and stuff, because I had experience, through marching when I was in like JROTC in high school and in college and ROTC. So I've always felt passionate about Honor Guard and that kind of stuff. And so I've been in it since day 365 basically of my career. And so still in it to this day, and I will retire in it. And last night was probably my last event. I keep saying that because it's like sometimes things will pop up and it's like, okay, I'll go do that. But other than scheduled events, I have no actual scheduled events for Honor Guard that I have on the calendar. So this one had come up. It was Honor Flight, a very cool organization that takes veterans, some of the veterans that we have left, like from say like World War II, Korea, Vietnam, those conflicts, those wars, takes them and flies them, if they live local in different areas of the country. But like this one is about the South Florida chapter of Honor Flight. And they fly them up to DC. They have sort of like, they either like bring a family member or they have like a volunteer chaperone. Like I know of a few officers that have gone up, and they help assist these guys and girls, like if they're in a wheelchair and everything. And they go with them, and the group gets bused to like the World War II Memorial, the Vietnam Memorial, stuff like that. They get to go and see things up in DC, and then they fly back. It's usually during this, I think it's the same day. They don't do a hotel thing. So when they come back, they're like last night, there was Honor Guard members from several agencies in Broward County. There was active duty military that were there, probably from like the National Guard station and stuff. They got sent out. So they were there in uniform. You had some, I don't think they were JROTC kids from high school, but they were like high school age kids. I think they were like air cadets or something. I don't think it was the Civil Air Patrol, but might've been. But in uniform and stuff, and they kind of make like a cordon out of the gate. And then we were there was bagpipers there, and you know it, we're hanging out like 45 minutes early, so people that are walking through the airport or there might be in that terminal, they see us like they see different cops than just like BSO there, and so they stop and talk to us. And me being me, of course, like the public information officer, kind of, but all of us are nice and we respect the way what we're there for. So we're just like, yeah, we're here for it, and kind of explain what I just explained to this. And so some people are like, oh, I'm gonna wait, I'm gonna hang out, like their flight's not leaving for another half hour or something. So they hang out. So then the guys came out in their wheelchairs, and to clapping and applause. And we the bagpipers were kind of like the lead, and we kind of did a parade through the terminal and then out. Yeah, there was one, Sparky, there was one motorcycle club. I don't remember the name of them, but they had kind of like their back patch was like a pentagon almost, and it had like a cross up at the top. I think there was a bit of a religious uh, thing to it, but there was several there. It wasn't Nam Knights. So those guys were there. I mean, unless Nam Knights got there, because we hung out at the beginning, and then we went in past TSA, brought our guns into the terminal. So we went past TSA, and so back to like the parade thing. So the bagpipers start playing, and then we had the American flag and 2 rifles, and we kind of marched as a honor guard, and then we had, like I said, we had about 11 honor guard members there. And so we marched, and then they were kind of behind us. And then we kind of like marched, we like went through the terminal, and then we turned to go out. We were in Terminal 1 in Fort Lauderdale, so we were coming off of Spirit. And we go up back through like the exit that you would go through if you were walking out to go to baggage claim. And when you came out, like it wasn't like this when we had left the room, but it was like, it was just like, it was like a real parade route. Like it was a huge crowd on both sides of like kind of like a fence, or like barriers. And everybody had signs, God bless America and stuff. It was really nice. And they had a DJ there that was playing, God bless America and stuff like that. And so it just really lets these guys you know feel the patriotism, the respect, the praise, the thankfulness of, you know, America and its community. So it really shows it. So it was super cool. So we kind of like then walk through ticketing and you kind of make like an L, and then you kind of came back, and then we kind of like disappeared out the doors. And then, their families were there. It was super cool. And it was something that I've always wanted to do as honor guard. I've seen it come across the bulletins saying, hey, we need honor guard members to jump in. And I've always had some sort of conflict. We were going out that night, or there was something going on, so I never was able to do it. So I was very happy to have the privilege to do it last night, and it was one of my last events. So it was really cool. So I hung out with some of the honor guard people that I've known from other agencies, and talked to them. Talked to a few of the veterans that were there, just from other groups that were there hanging out, hoping to see some of my American Legion friends from the city I work in, but I didn't see them there. But yeah, like I said, when we came back out TSA, it was jam packed. So it was really cool. So it was an awesome event. So, and I think they take care of the parking, even if you're, a regular person, uninvolved. I think, because they took care of our parking, obviously, but we were sort of working or involved in it. But if it seemed like there was, many people that had either heard of it through, their scout troop or something like that. And so they, what is that? Oh, I'm showing that. I'm like, why am I seeing motorcycles on the screen? But it was Sparky's logo. I'm like, what is that? Um, So, maybe they heard about it through a civic organization or something like that. And I think you can park for free. I don't think you have to pay for what the airport charges you. But if not, you're only there for an hour or so. I think I was there from like 6:30 to 9:30, and it rang up even though I got it for free for $14. So, if you got kids or something like that, you want to, give them, do some civic pride or whatever, take them out to that. It's a pretty cool event to see. So it's fun. So what else, everybody? What else you guys got? Oh, excuse me. What else is going? Oh, upcoming shows this week or this Tuesday. I'm dropping an interview with Gabby de la Espriella. uh, when I worked with her last name was Carpio, but that was, as she tells in the story, it was because she started her job working for Channel 6 in South Florida, NBC6, WTVJ. Her last name was Carpio, but then she got married, but because she's in show business, she didn't change her last name, at least professionally. But she's now retired from NBC6. She was a news desk. She worked the news desk as a producer, editor, all that kind of stuff. She's the person that when I was a public information officer and there was something going on in the city and the phone rang, she was the one on the other side saying, "Hey, I hear on the scanner this, and that. Can you tell me if we should send a crew out or whatever? Or, hey, we're sending a crew out. Are you guys going to make a statement?" That kind of stuff. So I did a lot of work with her through email, through phone conversations while she was working with NBC6. So she was like, "Yo, when am I coming on the podcast?" And I was like, "Dude, whenever they want, or whenever you want, come on." So she's on, and so that episode comes out this Tuesday. Also on Instagram with reels about it. But interesting thing, she is married to a now retired police officer. But when they got married, he was a sergeant. He elevated all the way up to deputy chief of Miami Beach Police Department. So that's an interesting relationship to be sort of, we would think adversarial, like the media versus the cops. So she kind of enlightens us to that situation for sure. Yeah, Spark, they have scanners. They've got a whole board of scanners. So they've got the Dade County channel scanners, and they've got Broward County channel scanners. So that's what, yeah, like when they would call me, I would hear basically a radio, like a police radio in the background. And so they've got a desk and they listen to everything. And so when we're sitting there, if their magic tones are alert tones, and then shots fired, that's going to obviously be a big one. I mean, just like it is for us when we hear it on the radio, it's definitely for them, because then they're like, "Oh, what do we got?" So that's really how they hear about stuff. And then of course through viewer tips, social media, stuff like that. So, but they've got that. They do that for sure. Listening to that. Some other news corporations, even in South Florida locally, they pay a service to listen to it. But NBC, they usually had two ladies sitting there, Vanessa, who also no longer works for NBC, and Gabby. They work together a lot. Vanessa now is a public information officer and works for City of Miami Police Department. So it's cool. They sort of it's a good way. For one of the things that they do in the PIO realm is they leave the news and then they end up jumping over to a more stable job, a government job, one with a pension or another type of pension, that kind of thing. So it's good for them. And then they have good experience and then good networking through who they know from the news. What we got? Yeah. Okay, so you're gonna send me an email. Yeah, due to trunking, I'm sure. Um, no, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if they really have much of a delay. But they hear stuff. They may not hear it like exactly, but there are a few agencies that they can't hear because some agencies are going to a secured network or a scrambled signal. And so they're changing it. So they are losing that capability of listening to some of the agencies for sure. But I don't think we have that in Broward. I don't think the sheriff's office or Broward County has that scrambling effect to prevent listening or eavesdropping. But yeah, they're eavesdropping and they're always listening, always watching. So yeah, my episode with her is coming up. And then I got to schedule a few more episodes. I've got a couple people that I got to reach out to and follow up with. But trying to keep this train moving, every Tuesday, trying to drop a new episode. I was talking to a guy last night and he hit me up and he was like, yeah, you ever want to, do you ever talk to someone from the other side of the fence or the other side? And I was like, well, I'll talk to anybody. And he said he did prison time for bank robbery. I was like, yes, I would like to talk to you. So he seems like an interesting guy and he's got a story to tell. So I'm going to hit him up through this. He's in Houston, so I'm going to hit him up through this. So, so it'll be cool. That's one. And then a few more I'm working on. But yep, always people interested to talk and looking to get on a podcast. So yeah, what else we got? Anybody got anything else? All right. Well, thank you guys for following in. Let's see. I'm gonna run a commercial before I end it, because you might as well run a commercial. Oh, don't forget, what do we got? Blackout Coffee. I know Sparky's ordered it before. Blackout Coffee. You can use the code DSP10, I think, to get 10% off. DSP10. Don't forget to drink your coffee. And then drop this commercial, and then we will sign out. So thanks everybody for joining in. It was a great show. Love engaging with you guys, especially my regulars. I'm glad you guys jumped in. So should see you guys next week. Yeah, Halloween. We got Halloween coming up. Wife and I are going to be doing a costume. I think we're going out on Halloween. So yeah, might hit up Wilton Manors. Their little their big party that they have down there in Wilton Manors. So we'll be there. So all right, everybody, watch this commercial and then we'll see you next week. Hey, what's up, guys? Want to talk to you about Tasty Gains. They're a sponsor of Counterculture Inc. We love them, been using them, and I enjoy it. It's a little gummy. It's got like 1 gram of creatine in there. So you take 3 a day, knock it out. It's making a difference. And it gives me a little bit of sweetness too during the day. I can keep them right in my backpack in my car at work, and they don't melt. You can see this is the mango pineapple. It's my favorite flavor. But check it out. Use code Counterculture to get 20% off on Tasty Gains. So check out Tasty Gains. They're great. So get your swole on.
Calling all units. Donut Shop has a fresh dozen. Go ahead and take a 1040.